What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is a series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 3. And in today's episode, we're going to be moving on to the last of the launch SMGs, and this is the Striker 9. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at our damage profile, and unfortunately, this gun sucks in the damage department. It's going to be a 6 to 7 shot kill if you're hitting them in the bonus zone, which includes the torso and the arms. And in the first two damage ranges, you can shoot them anywhere in the body and still maintain a 6-shot kill. Additionally, in that maximum damage range, if you can mix just one headshot in with those torso shots, you can cut this down to a 5-shot kill. So headshots are actually quite good to go for as long as you're up close and personal. But in general, this gun really sucks in the damage department. As for a rate of fire, this is very solid for an SMG at 857 rounds per minute. And what this means is with a 6-shot kill, our time to kill potential is 350 milliseconds. This is by far the slowest in the SMG category. And I had a look, this is actually slower than every single one of the assault rifles at point blank range. And this is an SMG. That shouldn't be the case. Now, if we do manage to land that headshot up close, combined with those body shots for a 5-shot kill, you now have a time to kill potential of 280 milliseconds, which is a good time to kill for SMGs. However, many of the other SMGs will get this time to kill without having to land a headshot. In either case, let's move on to our ranges, and as you can see here, our maximum damage range is just a little bit over 10 meters. However, our 6-shot kill potential extends out to about 35 meters. And in general, compared to the other SMGs, this is average to slightly below average for our range values. However, we at least get a pretty solid bullet velocity at 540 meters per second. As for hardcore game modes, you actually can't get a 1-shot kill to the body with the Striker 9, even at point blank range. The only way you're getting a 1-shot kill is with a headshot, and that will only work out to 23 meters. But then let's have a look at our Hipfire, and this is actually identical to the AMR9. Our standing Hipfire is just standard for SMGs, and our maximum Hipfire spread is pretty close to standard at 6.1 degrees per second. Overall, when you also combine this with the rate of fire, this isn't bad at all at hip firing. And now let's get into our recoil, and as you can see here, the Striker 9 really likes to zigzag. It's a very consistent zigzag. It's always after the 4th or 5th shot that you fire, it will cut really hard to the left, and then it will correct itself, come back to the right, and then it just continues to zigzag upwards. So that zigzag is definitely something to be aware of, but on the positive side at least, it has a very consistent recoil pattern overall, and there isn't a lot of side-to-side bounce by any means. It does follow that recoil path very nicely almost every single time. So overall, not a horrible gun in the recoil department, you just have to be ready for that zigzag action. Next, let's get into our handling stats, and our aim down sight speed is quite solid at 205 milliseconds. And our sprint out time is also very good at 100 milliseconds for our standard sprint out time and about 200 milliseconds for our tactical sprint out time. Then taking a look at our reload add time, this is 1.44 seconds, which is right around average for SMGs. It's not bad at all, but it's also not a standout by any means. And then finally, for the base stats of this gun, let's have a look at our movement speeds, and across the board, these are all really solid, even for an SMG. With our base movement speed and our sprint speed, these are tied for being the best in the SMG category for Modern Warfare 3 SMGs, and our aim walking movement speed is also great at 3.3 meters per second. And there we go, that's going to wrap it up for all of the base stats of the Striker 9. Now let's get into some excellent attachment combinations, and we're going to start this off with my accuracy build. With this one, we're using the Striker Elite Long Barrel, the XRK Sandstorm Muzzle, the FTAC MSP98 Hand Stop, the Mark III Reflector, and then finally the Lockman Recon Series Stock. And as you can see with the recoil here, while we still do get that zigzag, there's really nothing you can do about that hard cut to the left. We still significantly reduce all of our recoil values here, and you can see when we look at the recoil plots side by side, this is significantly more accurate than the base recoil. And with this, our aim down sight speed is still respectable, I would say, at 245 milliseconds. A little bit slow for an SMG, but not bad at all for a really accurate SMG build. Our sprint out time is also a little bit slower than the base, but still quite fast, especially if you were to put this up against an assault rifle, for instance, at 116 milliseconds. Our range values are boosted by 12%, and also our bullet velocity is nicely boosted here, up to 621 meters per second. And overall, as far as Striker 9 setups go, this is quite a solid setup that allows you to stretch out your range a little bit and still hit your target quite accurately. Next, let's get into my stealth build, and this build is actually very similar to the previous one. I've only swapped out a couple attachments, and that's simply because there are certain attachments on this gun that just really work well, and they're kind of the obvious choice. So with this, we're once again using the Striker Elite Long Barrel, the FTAC MSP98 Hand Stop, and that Lockman Recon Series Stock. But now we're using the Shadow Strike Suppressor so we can stay off the radar with this, And I'm also using a 40 round mag. Now that 40 round mag, depending on the map that we're on, I may swap that for an optic instead. So if I'm on a bit of a longer range map, I might want to have a Mark III reflector instead, whereas a smaller map, I'd rather have that bigger magazine and just use the iron sights. So there is definitely some room to play around with this here. But with this, as you can see, we still have quite an accurate gun on our hands, not nearly as accurate as the previous build, but still much more accurate than the base recoil. Our aim down sight speed is also quite solid at 218 milliseconds. If you drop that 40 round mag, it gets even better. And our sprint out speed is the same as the previous build at 116 milliseconds. This is still great and shouldn't be a problem for you at all. And then once again, just like with the previous build, our range values are boosted by 12% and our bullet velocity is boosted up to 621 meters per second. For me, this is probably my favorite Striker 9 build, just because I can stay off the radar and try to take my enemies by surprise, which is kind of needed due to the fact that the time to kill potential just isn't very good with this gun. And this just leaves us with one final build I wanted to share, and this is my aggressive strafing build. And with this one, we're once again using that Shadow Strike suppressor to stay off the radar. We've got the Striker Stubby Barrel, the XRK Edge BW4 hand stop, the Striker Factory Stock, and then finally the Sakin ZX Grip. Now with this, our recoil is maybe slightly improved over the base recoil, but we're not really building for recoil on this, obviously. Instead, we're building this for aggression. So our aim down sight speed is incredible at 173 milliseconds. Our sprint out time is also nicely improved at just 84 milliseconds. Our base movement speed is almost at the level of the sprint speed of the standard Striker 9 without any attachments, which is insane. So just walking is actually as fast as sprinting with many of the other SMGs. And to top all of this off, our aim walking speed is incredibly fast at 4.1 meters per second. So you can strafe really effectively in gunfights, and you can also snap onto targets really quickly. You can come out of sprint really quickly. This is a great setup for those smaller map playlists, or if you're just somebody that likes to keep yourself in close quarters. And if you play it right, this gun can give you the jump on enemies that you desperately need in order to keep up with that time to kill potential. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the Striker 9. As for my thoughts on this gun, unfortunately, it's pretty bad. After they nerfed that 5-shot kill range and turned it into a 6-shot kill range, this became immediately the worst SMG in the game. And it's just frustrating to see that even at point blank range, this kills slower than literally every assault rifle in the game. Even Modern Warfare 2 assault rifles. This kills slower than all of them. And that just shouldn't be the case with an SMG in my opinion. Now, pre-patch, before they nerfed this, it had a 5-shot kill range and the maximum damage range, and I thought it performed just fine. I thought it was a very good SMG. I didn't think it was really overperforming. They must have had some data that suggested that it was overperforming, which triggered the nerf. But if anything, I think they should have just reduced the 5-shot kill range rather than eliminating it entirely, because that makes this just not a very good gun. Now, that's not to say that you can't get kills with it, and honestly, I really like how this gun handles. It's just that really slow time to kill makes it a horrible choice compared to any one of the other SMGs, in my opinion. Now, of course, these are just my thoughts on the Striker 9, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this gun in those comments down below. Also, if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes, we've now covered all of the assault rifles and SMGs that are currently in the game. I will leave a link to the playlist in the description of the video. If you enjoyed this one, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.